So here's a video of the mizzen mast, specifically about reefing the mizzen mast. Now, honestly, I'm not sure if reefing the mizzen mast is going to be something I'm going to have to worry about. I think having it's small enough, and in a storm, if I have to heave to, I don't think the mizzen mast is necessarily going to need to be reefed. So this might be kind of a pointless idea. But I've seen mizzen masts reefed, and I figure, well, it's probably a good thing to have. You're better off having more options than not having the option at all. And I really don't like, just like I don't, the reason why I'm picking a junk rig is because I don't like traditional reefing. You lower the sail, it's all loose. You gotta go and tie off each little tie along the boom. Just, it's time consuming. It takes a lot of effort, especially if you're in a weather system where you're kind of getting in and out of weather, and so you're reefing it off and on continuously throughout the day or 2 days of whatever the storm is. So I want to make the reefing as easy as can be. I think a lot of the reason why people get in trouble without reefing soon enough is because typical reefing is such a hassle that people in long periods at sea just kind of get complacent about it, which is natural. So I want to make the reefing. So the way the mizzen mast is reefed is you loosen the uphaul, you lower the sail down, you lower this I don't know what it's called. Yeah, I read it the other day. I read it, but the name's not sticking in my mind. That's the problem with doing everything by yourself. It's like I understand all the parts of it. I just forget the names because I have no reason to name them out loud, and I have no reason to remember the names because I know what that part is, and I don't need to convey that information to anybody else. But with videos, obviously, that kind of backfires. Anyway, so this gets brought down, and then you tie the sail, the reefing points off onto that, and you tighten everything up, and that reduces the area of your sail. I don't like that because that means, because your mizzen mast is on the very stern. So that would mean me having to stand out here, kneel out here, whatever, lean out over the boat. Maybe I can swing the sail in, pull it down, tie it off. And that's a lot to do. And I don't like having to be out here on the stern of the boat doing it. So the idea I have for it is to basically alter this pull and to remove the reefing points completely. And so what that's going to look like is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the pull a little bit, depending on how much I need. And then what I'm going to do is on the very ends, I'm going to put like a channel here. So you'll have like layers of fiberglass here, and that'll create this notch. And then I'll rig the blocks with a Dyneema loop, and that Dyneema loop will be spliced around the end of the end of the pole up here. And so that Dyneema loop is going to be tightened around that, so it's not going to come off of that end. And what that allows is this pole is then allowed to rotate without the blocks rotating with it, because on the old system the blocks are fixed, and if you try to turn the pole, then the blocks turn with it. So the idea is to make it so that the blocks don't turn, but the pole does turn. And the point of that, so on the very end here, because what happens is these blocks pull into the mast, the mizzen mast here, right? So you have these blocks here, and you pull it, you pull them together, and that tightens the tension on the pole going down, which is what keeps the sail out. So right here on this, on the very end of this, on the very end up here, you have this configuration. So you have the notch where the Dyneema loop will go, and this will just be a handle that allows me to turn the pole easier. So it's just going to be a cross fiberglass rod. But then you have this notch here, and that notch allows the block to go through, because the direction that the tension's being pulled is this way towards the mizzen mast. So you have that notch, and that also, when the blocks are tightened through that notch, it keeps the pole from turning. Now what the idea is, when it comes time to reef, what I'll do is I'll take the line that's holding the mast to the sail to the mast. I'll undo the first few, depending on how far I'm going to reef it. I'll bring this down, and right here will be a peg, or this right up here, and that peg will fit through a grommet on the sail, and the sail will be attached to the pole here. So what happens is I'm able to roll the sail around this rod, and that will pull the sail down and reduce the sail area. And then what I'll have is just cleats on the mast to wherever that blocks. So the block, this block system will be attached to the mast with a cleat. And then when I want to move that, I'll simply undo that cleat, and I'll move the rod, stick, damn it, whatever it's called. I'll move that down, reattach the block system to a cleat. I think that might be too low, so it might be like that, because I want a little bit of downward tension still. I don't want it completely horizontal, so I want a little bit of downward tension, I think. So I'll move the block down to this cleat, and then I'll be able to roll the sail up, and that'll bring the sail area down, and it'll reduce the sail. And that'll be, I think, the smoothest way to reduce sail. And then once the sail's rolled, the block system will be tightened onto that cleat, and because of that notch, it'll keep the sail tight, and it will keep it from unrolling. And then I'll just reattach that to the cleat. So on the back of the boat, there will be a series of cleats. So you have the uphaul, then you'll have this line that goes around that attaches the sail to the mast. That'll come out somewhere over here to another cleat, right? So I'll undo, and all it is just pulling the line out of those few grommets, lowering the sail, rolling it up around the pole, and then tightening everything up and reattaching them to the cleats. That way, I'm not limited to one or two reef points. I can reduce the sail to any point, and I can even, if I decide I don't even want a mizzen mast up there, or I don't even want a mizzen sail up there, I can just roll the entire sail up onto that pole and stow it. I think this is probably the smoothest way to reef a mizzen mast. And I think it'll be the quickest way when I'm out at sea. And again, I can't see myself needing to reduce the mizzen sail area, but if I do need to, it'll be nice to have something as smooth as simply taking the block off the cleat up there, moving it down there, loosening that pole there, loosening this line here, and then just rolling up the sail, tightening everything up, and you're good to go. That's so much easier. And plus all of that can be done with me leaning over the cockpit cabin and just working right here in this area. I don't have to go out over here. I don't have to try and pull the sail in. I don't have to do any of that. All I have to do is loosen this block system, reattach it to a cleat down here, pull this line out, slip the grommet over the peg, and roll the sail, and then tighten everything up. I think that's the smoothest way to do reefing on a mizzen sail. I've never sailed with a mizzen sail, so I don't know. I don't have the experience of having to deal with one. So if anyone has had experience dealing with a mizzen sail, I'm happy to hear your thoughts on this. Anyway, hopefully next month I'll get back to building. The snow is melting. Yeah, hopefully it speeds up within the next few weeks. And we'll get back to the more interesting videos. But thanks for stopping by.